Morning, my name is Todd Elliotte, South Canterbury cricket player, cap number 650, debut 1992, Hawke Cup 93 to 2010, captain 99 to 2010, with 101 games behind me. I've been asked just to discuss a wee bit about my playing career, but also the games that South Canterbury have played in the Hawke Cup, and with the challenge against Hawke's Bay coming up this weekend, to reflect a wee bit on my time playing in challenges and also different games. First challenge was 1994. We played Manawatu at Fitzherbert Park on an absolute belter. We captain at the time, Barry Ward, lost the toss, and Manawatu decided to bat first. Dave Fulton, I believe, played for Central Districts, scored 209 in that game. He wasn't the only century maker in that game. Leighton Hamilton had 1 for 117 off 39 overs. Myself had records here, 3 for 136 off 68 overs, and Bruce Carlaw 1 for 109 off 36 overs. Manawatu amassed 650 in an hour under 2 days. We lost our quick bowling attack to injury. We lost Gary Ballantyne was first, to a hamstring injury, chasing a ball to the boundary off my bowling down to long on. So he was out for the game. And we then lost our 12th man late on day one to a knee injury while fielding on the boundary. We had our selector at the time, I believe, Lindsay Hewitson. He fielded for just over a day. And the next player in line for us, which was a bit of a chuckle, was our sports reporter Daryl Holden, followed by our manager Watty Taylor at the time, the late Watty Taylor. They would have been the next two on the park for us. So we were battling for numbers at that stage. So 650 to chase was a huge task. Obviously we were never going to get there with just over a day to bat. We lost Mark Parker. We lost Parks in the second over of that last session, hour of the second day. So poor old Parks had fielded for an hour under 2 days and then got out and got a duck, which was harsh because it was pretty tiring conditions. And then we proceeded to bat out the day. The third day we won 95 for 5 declared. Not declared, at the end of play. Just on my notes here, Craig Cummings 70, Ryan Dejoux 55, match drawn, and Manawatu retained. Moving on from the 94 challenge, we obviously had a bit of a personnel change within the sides. A few of the older guys retired. We had some new guys come in. And we tried and we played some really good games over that period from 94 to 2000 before we got our next challenge. We came up against a really good Canterbury country side. And the majority of the times they were the ones that would go through and challenge. We couldn't quite get over the line, so to speak, against them. And even some of the games versus Ashburton. But we had some great games against Mid Canterbury, against Country. And also the Buller boys over and the West Coast. So we had some fantastic efforts, some fantastic games, some close games, but we just couldn't quite get the challenge in that time. And obviously we had a couple of guys go on out of the region to Canterbury, Otago, and overseas to play cricket as well. So losing those guys, we sort of had a stable core of sort of 5 or 6 with new guys coming in. 2000, no different to any other season. Mind you, we trained winter trainings probably a lot more than what we had done. We'd signed up, each team member had signed up on a so-called pledge to the rest of the lads in the group to make sure that we're training, we're giving it all every time we get on the park. We're training hard. And also in the games, we're not giving up, we're not giving our wickets away easily. So we sort of signed up, and that was what JP brought, Justin Paul brought into the side as coach. He believed in the group. He had a split in two, the pipe cleaners and the pie eaters. So you can obviously imagine the makeup of the side. So warm-ups were always fun and laughable. And going into that season, we had the backing of the board, was huge. We managed to get by on the coast. In the last game, we needed to win first innings, which we did to get the challenge. We had beaten Country first innings also that season. So with them being holders, we just had to either finish first or second, and we would get the challenge that year. Going into the challenge was always going to be tough. Country had a couple of ex-first classes and first classes. So, hey, it is what it is. We knew that playing them the years before. But going into that game, obviously confidence was good. We'd earned the challenge. And that's probably the big thing about Hawke Cup. You have to earn the challenge. You have to really, you've got to play well every game you play, but it's not a given. And that's probably what the boys realised going forward and going into that season is we've got a good shot, but we've really got to earn it, and we've really got to make the games count each time. 22nd of January 2000, we arrive at Dudley Park to rain. Delayed start through till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so there's a fair bit of cards being played, a bit of sleeping. And rain, as I said, 4 o'clock start. Country won the toss, decided to bat. End of day's play, which was ended early due to bad light again. We had them 140 for 7 buckets. Our opening bowler, Hamish Wood, ripped through the top order, basically. We had 4 for 30 odd. So young kid coming into the side that season, bowling extremely well, been going great guns. And for him to rip through the top order like that with the class they had at the top of the order was outstanding. So 140 for 7 overnight they were. Day 2, rain again, delayed start. Didn't roll through them. We ended up getting them out for 227, I think it was. Woody ended up with 6 for 60 off 20 overs. So big quick bowling 20 overs. Okay, it was over a couple of days, but still hell of a spell. And then batting, we got through to 250 odd first innings. In the bag, so to speak, we chipped in all the way through, 80 for the first wicket, and then middle order chimed in. One of the funniest stories was a young guy I was batting with at the time. We got over the line, but he came out to bat without a helmet on, and facing Michael Sharp, first class cricketer, quick for Canterbury. Sorry. Jingo, I was at the other end just going, what are you doing, son? So Nigel Jones, in the scorebook it says Nigel Tubb, his name is Nigel Jones. He got us over the line basically. Faced the first couple from Sharpie without a helmet on, and all of a sudden, lads, helmet please, because they went whistling past his ears, and they were rapid. We got through, and then day 3, once again it was affected by rain late in the day. Country decided to bat again, that was it, day done. Just amount of pride for South Canterbury, proud of the guys that did the job. It wasn't just the 12 that was there. We had guys in the squad that were trained extremely hard all season, but just we grounded out, and that was the best part. We had people come from all over the show. Christchurch, we had a group from Timaru come up. They came up on the first day because they saw Country of 140 for 7, so they've gone, right, we're out up to Rangiora to watch the remaining 2 days, because the boys are going well. And then obviously day 2 we'd snuck over the line, So yeah, immense amount of pride for the group, but also proud that we could do it for people that hadn't quite got there before. So yeah, that was it's one of those things. It was a hell of a good time, and reward for the hard work that we put in that season. So yeah, that was that part of the journey on the day. As I said, these young guys, we had Dan Lemming, Joe, Nigel, Hamish Wood. These guys were pups, basically, pups in the team. So we had a good mix. And as I said earlier, we had the pipe cleaners and the pie eaters. Funny thing was, our coach JP wasn't there on the day because that weekend because he was getting married. So we got all the way through to the Hawke Cup Challenge, and he wasn't there because he was getting married. So yeah, we were getting texts and phone calls and all sorts from him for that during the day, and obviously that the last night, obviously with the trip home on the bus to come. Celebration time. Obviously, a couple of beers were had. We into the changing rooms, celebrated in there for a wee bit. Sat down and just thought and discussed what we'd done for the people back home, the region, and also family and supporters who put a lot into our work. Well, not into our work, but behind the scenes. And then obviously a few beers with the country lads and the supporters outside. Off down to the Plough Hotel in Rangiora to do official handover of the trophy and the Hawke Cup and speeches onto the bus and the bus ride home. As you can imagine, it's a bus ride home with a bunch of guys and supporters that had just won the minor association's major trophy. And for South Canterbury being the first time, obviously, to bring it home was outstanding. So yeah, we arrived home to the Gleneedy Tavern at the time, and John Davies was running it, I think, at that stage, ex-player for South Canterbury and also coach. So yeah, it was great for us to get home to ex-players, family members that had supported us for so long, and those for the region, it was huge. We'd gone close, we'd played in challenges before, but we just had, as I said earlier, we hadn't quite got over the line. So yeah, we celebrated well that night, and then later on into the week as well. It was a bit of a purple patch for South Canterbury cricket. The Timaru Girls High Girls had also won. I'm not sure what it was, but they'd also won one of the might have been a national title at that stage. We had in the team at that time was Haiti Tiffin, obviously ex New Zealand cricketer and coach. So yeah, we like South Canterbury cricket was going through a bit of a purple patch at that time, and it was really good. We had photos with Mia and that one Raymond at the time. So yeah, no, it was one of those things. We were just it was a good bunch of lads, and obviously just to go through that with it had been a hell of a season. As I mentioned earlier, our coach actually wasn't there, so it was good to catch up with him finally and celebrate with him because he'd put a hell of a lot. Justin Paul had put a hell of a lot of work into us and belief. So yeah, no, it was really bloody good. Title defence a fortnight later, 5th of Feb 2000 versus Otago Metro. Yeah, we went in with pretty much the same side as it has had won and thoroughly deserved to defend. Won the toss and batted. We thought get through the first hour and see how we go. Unfortunately, we came up against an Otago Metro side that was fairly handy. Some would say stacked. At that time, Metro sides were allowed to play in the Hawke Cup, even though it was for a minor associational trophy. So, yes, Otago Metro came through as they were fully deserved to and took it off us. We got rolled for 120. They scored 300. we batted again, and they chased 80 in the fourth innings to win outright. And that was our title defence. Looking at it now, well, looking at it the following season, NZC decided to pull the pin on Metro teams being in the Hawke Cup. Doesn't make it any easier for our boys who busted their guts out for 12 months prior to get to that situation, to win it, only to have it taken away in a game against a quality opposition. And it just shows there was a bit of a gap. What does it mean for me as a player playing Hawke Cup? Means a lot. Just having the experience as a kid to come into that environment with a couple of mates, and for the area too, like showing that you can make it, you can win these games, you can work hard, and you can win it. We had a group of guys that, we represented South Canterbury from the early age. And those guys coming through, they did the same thing. They made all the junior sides, South Canterbury sides. They went away to the tournaments and played and represented South Canterbury really well. And then obviously playing in the Hawke Cup, it's massive. For a minor association player to get a challenge for a start, but also to win it was huge. It's a lot of hard work. It's dedication. It's time away from family. As they say, cricket widows it's pretty close, especially during the season. You're training. Back then we were training 3 nights a week: Tuesday night, Thursday night, Thursday club stuff, Wednesdays rep stuff, and a Friday night run round if you had a home game. Just a fielding practice before the games on Saturday, Sunday. So there's your weekend gone. But also, at the time, you wouldn't change it. You're young and you just keep going, and you're fit enough to keep going. Looking back, the players you play against, the players you play with, it's just special. You play against guys that you see go on to make New Zealand. You play with guys that are stalwarts of their associations in playing cricket, and that's part and parcel of Hawke Cup. Yeah, it's outstanding. It's great cricket. It's hard. It's tough. They say it's pretty much like second 11 cricket. A Hawke Cup challenge is a 3-day match. The idea is if you're holding it, you win the toss and bat for 2 days, and give them a day to try and chase it. If you're challenging, you've got to roll them, and that's cricket. You learn to bat periods of time. You learn to bowl and bowl dot balls. You bowl in partnerships. And the young guys that we had in the team, they carried on. The likes of Dan Lamming, he's still running around the field now. And obviously, to me, Jonesy was a hell of a kid at that age. And he also, when he left to go overseas, represent Ireland the way he did. It's fantastic to see those guys prosper and go really well. And it's funny, when I watched Harry's video the other week, it was just like I hadn't seen him for years and years. Matt Fine's another one. The boys from Duncan Drew from North Otago. You got Troy Scanlon over in Buller. All those guys, they've given it for their association, and that's Hawke Cup cricket.